Hi everyone and welcome to the Dodo Bird Nerd. It's me, the Dodo Bird Nerd, and today's video I'm going to be going over the next part of my Magic the Gathering Taxonomy series. This time going over another part of birds, this time being birds that have one member of their grouping in Magic, but they have more in their grouping that are not in Magic yet. And as there's quite a few of these, this is going to be at least a part 1 of potentially at least 2. There might be more, but there's at least going to be 2. And so this is going to be a part 1 instead of a part 2 when I'm still talking about birds. And I will link the first bird video in the description of this video if you want to watch that now or after this video is over with. So, without any further ado, let's roll the intro and let's get started. So just one quick thing before we get started, that being that all works and images used will be in the description of the video. So the first type of bird for us to go over here is Paleognathae. And these tend to be mostly flightless birds that tend to be bigger. However, there are exceptions to this rule. In terms of the flightless stipulation, that would be tinamous, and the bigger stipulation, that would be kiwis and tinamous again. But these is Paleognathae. In terms of the ones that are missing in Magic the Gathering, these are emus, ostriches, kiwis, tinamous, rheas, elephant birds, and cassowaries. These are all missing in Magic the Gathering in terms of being members of Paleognathae. However, there is one in Magic the Gathering, those being moas. Now, moas were big flightless birds that were from New Zealand, and the reason I'm using the past tense here is that they've all gone extinct. However, there have been 2 Magic the Gathering cards that have shown moas. One as recently as Dragon's Maze in terms of when it was initially printed, that being Bronzebeak moa. I would appreciate more moas because it shows an extinct animal for one, which I do appreciate. It's also a flightless bird, and I think those are an interesting way to show up in Magic the Gathering, though there are some reasons that they may not show up as much. There are rarer, but there are other reasons for why flightless birds may not show up in Magic the Gathering. But I would still like to see more moas and other flightless birds in general in Magic. Specifically the dodo bird, which is, my channel mascot. So, seeing one of those in Magic the Gathering would be really cool. I'm now on a tangent on extinct flightless birds in Magic. Huh. Well, anyway, we're going to move on to the next type of bird. Those being Procellariforms. I think that's how it's pronounced. And these are seabirds that tend to live on islands. And now the ones that are missing in Magic the Gathering are storm petrels, normal petrels, and shearwaters. These are all missing in Magic the Gathering. Now the ones that are in Magic the Gathering are albatross. Now albatross are rather big seabirds that include the bird with the largest wingspan of all currently non-extinct birds, which I think is cool, which is why I brought it up here when talking about albatross. But they're mainly just really big seabirds that have rather large wingspans in terms of there being an albatross. There hasn't been an albatross in Magic since, I think, Homelands, and it hasn't been reprinted since then. So this is definitely more of a older pick, but it's still something that has been in Magic the Gathering. Next up are Bucerotiforms. Now these birds were initially grouped in the same group as Kingfishers, however they decided to split them off into their own different group. And the ones that are missing in Magic are hornbills, wood hoopoes, scimitar bills, and ground hornbills. Now you might be thinking, I said wood hoopoes. Isn't there that one Hoopoe card from Hour of Devastation? Well, you'd be right. But it's a normal Hoopoe. Now, these are birds with very pronounced feathers on their heads, as can be very clearly seen in the art for River Hoopoe. And there aren't that many types of them. There's only around 3 or 4 types of Hoopoe, like the normal types of Hoopoe, not the wood Hoopoes. And so, it's just a rarer type of bird in terms of different types of it. But there is one in Magic the Gathering in Hour of Devastation on a rather nice green and blue uncommon. And so those are the Hoopoe. That is the Hoopoe in Magic the Gathering. And the final type of bird for this video are Coraciforms. Now these are birds that have 3 toes that point straight, is apparently their main defining factor. But the ones that are missing in Magic are Motmots, Bee-Eaters, Toadies, Rollers, and Ground Rollers. Now the one that is in Magic is another rather old card. That being kingfishers. Now, these are birds that tend not to be super big, but they do have very big beaks, and they come together at a point, which can be seen in the art from Kingfisher, which was from one of the Urza sets. I'm pretty sure it was the Flask, which I think is Urza's Destiny. I'm not entirely confident, as I do somewhat regularly confuse the various symbols in that block, but I'm pretty sure that the Flask was Urza's Destiny, so that was the only time I believe that a Kingfisher was printed in Magic the Gathering. So continuing the trend with the Albatross of a rather old bird, but it was in Magic the Gathering, which does get a representative for this grouping of birds, and so I'm talking about it in this video. So what do you think of the birds that I covered in this Magic the Gathering taxonomy video? Let me know in the comments down below. Are you looking forward to the next part of this more specific thing inside of the more specific thing? Because the next thing will be another thing inside of the bird thing, but talking more about these, talking about the ones that have a bit more in terms of other types of birds than the ones shown in this video. Let me know in the comments down below. And one thing I would like to briefly mention before I conclude the video fully is that the next Magic the Gathering video will likely be a Modern Horizons 2 Commander deck tech. Now, as for what this is, my guess, based on the set booster box art that was revealed, is going to be a Squirrel Commander deck, would be my guess, as I tend, not always, but I tend to lean my Commander decks that I post on this channel, more recently at least, to a more zoological basis. And so I think, going with squirrels, it's an animal tribe, would allow me to, hit that more zoological basis. So it would likely be that, unless there's something really spectacular in that set. But I'm leaning towards, I'm likely going to build a squirrel, do a squirrel commander deck in the next video. I'm thinking it might be similar to what, like, Bears did for Ayula. No, what Ayula did for Bears. That would be the correct way to phrase that sentence. So that's what I'm thinking it's likely going to end up being. For the Squirrel Commander, something similar that makes that tribe very much viable in Commander. And then almost immediately, with the month after that, the next Magic Gathering video would likely be a D&D Adventures in the Forgotten Realms deck tech. Now, this one's a bit less certain, as I don't necessarily know if I'll end up building a Commander deck from the set. I think it's probable that I end up doing that, but I don't know for certain. And so if I don't end up doing a deck tech for that set, then that will be when the next part of the Magic the Gathering Taxonomy series is posted. However, in the very likely chances I do end up posting a deck tech for that set, then the next one in this series will end up being the month or set of 4 weeks after that. So it will likely either end up being skip one video from now or skip 2 videos from now. So it's going to be a bit of a wait, but this series will return after the release of Dungeons & Dragons Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. So with all that out of the way, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye!